to Teachers Who Learn. I'm your host, Ariane, and today we're talking about active citizenship in the classroom. In today's podcast, I'm going to give you some information from two articles, and then we're going to hear from a Saskatchewan-based high school teacher about how she has implemented this in her classroom. The first article I want to mention is called What Kind of Citizen? The Politics of Educating for Democracy by Joel Westheimer and Joseph Kahn. These authors suggest 3 strands to citizenship necessary for people living in democracy. The first is the personally responsible citizen, who focuses on having good character. They are marked by their volunteerism. The second is the participatory citizen, who takes it up a notch by actively participating in civic affairs, learning about the government, the community, and the importance of planning and participating in organized efforts. They don't just volunteer, they organize the programs where people can go to volunteer. And the third is the justice-oriented citizen that focuses not on the problems at hand, but what the root causes behind them are. The authors suggest that personally responsible citizenship is often the most advertised form of citizenship, but it can be problematic because it puts forward, quote, volunteerism and kindness as ways of avoiding politics and policy, end quote. Thus, the article shows a study done in high schools that attempted to help students become participatory and justice-oriented citizens. The students went out into the community to tackle real issues. Working on practical solutions to everyday problems motivated them to engage fully. The second article I read is called Soft versus Critical Global Citizenship Education by Vanessa Andriotti. She agrees with the idea that you cannot be a good, democracy-minded citizen if you only focus on your own character. She uses Dobson's work to argue that many campaigns are based around being, quote, charitable, compassionate, and active locally, based on moral obligation to common humanity, rather than a political responsibility for the causes of poverty. End quote. Dobson suggests that the very people who think they're doing good in the world are the cause of the problems, and without what Westheimer and Kahn call being justice-oriented, efforts are useless. Dobson argues that there is a difference between being human and being a citizen. I would argue that Andriotti makes the case that if we don't have justice-oriented citizenship on the local and global level is pointless at best and quite harmful at its worst. One thing that's significant for us as teachers to note is that both articles imply that in this particular situation, we cannot teach our students what to learn, we have to teach them how to learn. And so I think if we're thinking along the lines of teaching strategies, the best approach to active citizenship, to teaching students to become active citizens, is inquiry-based learning. And that's really what was done in the study, is the students got to choose what they found interesting and then pursue that, which really brought the project to life. I am here with a teacher from my high school, Katrina Korchinski, and she's going to share briefly about an activity she does in her classroom. Katrina, you do a caucus simulation. Can you explain what that is?
A caucus simulation is a classroom exercise that asks the students to imitate the process of spending taxpayer dollars on proposals that affect different regions of Canada. Students are required to become an MP from a specific region of Canada and argue for or against the proposals based on what their constituents want. Students are assigned to regions by the teacher and must research their population so that they can successfully sway the decisions made by the caucus in their favor. Students have to vote in a prime minister, who then chooses a cabinet, adhere to parliamentary meeting rules, make formal speeches, and think on their feet. We've got an Ipsos polling station to keep them informed as well.
Can you talk some more about the benefits of an activity like this?
The caucus simulation pushes the students to the top of the Bloom's taxonomy pyramid. They have to become someone else and think like someone else. They have to learn about the people in the various regions of Canada, what they want, what they don't want, and what they struggle with. During the process of the simulation, the students learn about regionalism and regional disparity. They learn that all is not fair, but that we must work together to try and come up with the best solution for our country. They begin to think critically about their own roles as up-and-coming voters, and they experience firsthand the importance of having a voice. It's truly amazing to see how the students internalize the struggles of their constituents.
I loved doing this assignment. I was the MP for none of it, and you said at the beginning, Katrina, that no MP from none of it ever got the funding in this simulation because they're so underrepresented, and it made me work so hard because I had to fight to have other people see my perspective and validate where I was coming from and give me the money because, my people were people too, and it made me think so much about the government and all the decisions they have to make that I'm not aware of, and it was super enlightening. So to this day, I've always thought about teaching that one day in my own classroom. I hope you, my fellow teacher, have learned something. This has been Teachers Who Learn.